Sustainable Development Goals (SDG) 2030. The agendas are set by United Nations. There are 17 goals. Some of the goals are overlapping each other, but these goals are very important for countries like Bangladesh and many other global south countries, in fact, and most of the developing countries, because when we talk about inequality, when we talk about infrastructure development, and also quality educations and gender equality, ensuring access to sanitations, access to pure drinking water, and also the reducing gender inequality, reducing poverty, and reducing extreme poverty, and also bringing hunger level to zero. And these are very important and vital concept, and that is adopted by the United Nations in 2015 by. And these resolutions are these goals are uh, uh, adopted by all the countries of the United Nations unequivocally. So before we going into details, it is very important to understand what is sustainable development. And there are many theories of development, there are many policies, and there are many ways to be developed, and there are also conceptual debate regarding the development. But sustainable development is something is very important and very inclusive in nature, because any development initiative that is not environmentally friendly or intergenerational equity or socially justifiable, and that development we cannot call it sustainable development. Because we see there in Bangladesh, especially in Bangladesh, the way high rise building is constructing, the way rivers are destroying because of rapid industrializations, and this is not called development, because this development is not sustainable, because in the long run this will cause flood and other natural disasters. So any development initiatives or policy or guideline must be environmentally sound, and and the second thing is, any development, it has to be socially justifiable. The moment we are talking about the growth, the development, or whatever we can call it, and in any country, when development is not incorporate maximum citizens of the country, it is not a sustainable development. Because income inequality is expanding in globally, not in Bangladesh but also globally. So only 1% populations of the world, they owning the maximum resources of the world. So this is not sustainable development. In case of Bangladesh, we see the rich are getting richer, rich are getting richer, and super richer, but the poor are remain poor. So the benefits of growth, the benefits of development is not reaching to the marginal communities and maximum citizens and maximum populations of the country. So we cannot call this development as sustainable development. To be a sustainable development, the benefits of the growth, the benefits of the the upgradation, and should reach to the common people, marginal people, poor people, ultra poor people. And then when we upscale and uplifting the level of their access to food, access to sanitations, access to drinking water, access to basic needs, and then this development we can call it sustainable development. And another aspect is sustainable, there should be an intergenerational equity. Suppose we have natural resources like water resources, oil, gas, and other resources. If we destroy our river bodies, seas, and oceans indiscriminately, our lands for fertilizer, by applying more toxic fertilizer for producing maximum goods and products, and for the well-being of current generation at the cost of future generation, by destroying the natural habitats, forestry, and building urbanizations by cutting forest, cutting by destroying rivers resources, water bodies, and oceans. And this development is not called sustainable development, because our current growth or development is on the basis of destroying the future generations equity to that same right. So this is not called sustainable development. And any sustainable development, it has to have an intergenerational equity. What do we mean? Suppose the excess of fresh air and excess of fresh drinking water or resources of natural resources that we have in our current generation, and we should design and plan our development policies and activities in a way that our future generations will have the same access, or in other words, the we will not destroy the access, same level of access of fresh drinking water, fresh resources of oil, gas, and other resources, and to the future generations same extent. We have to ensure that at least the same extent of current generation, and that is called sustainable development. So in a nutshell, then when we talk about sustainable development, that the three basic principles we should contain, that is, any development policy, it must be environmentally sound. Our development activities should not destroy environment, our planet, our earth, our oceans, our rivers, our airs, and these are the basic elements of our environment. Our development trajectory, our development policy, our initiatives should not destroy our motherly earth, our beautiful earth. And that is the one point. And the second important thing, and it has to be socially justifiable. Any development initiatives that we should contain people should be at the forefront of our development initiatives, and that development should be beneficial to maximum people of the country or society, or maximum populations. If development only benefits only few people, rich people, industrial people, or some of the elite class people, and depriving the rights of maximum people, so that GDP growth, that industrialization, that development, we cannot call it sustainable development. So our development policy should uplift poverty, should reduce hunger, should reduce intergenerational equity, should reduce gender gap. So these are the very important things that our development policy, our development initiative should not only benefits to the only few people. Our development policy must be beneficial to the maximum level of populations. And the third, the most important thing is that it is intergenerational equity, because from human civilizations, from the dawn of human civilization to the present life, we have seen that over the last 200 or last 100 and last century, few 30 or 40 years, the emission of CO2, carbon dioxide, and because of rapid urbanization, rapid industrializations, the emission of toxics, CO2, and how our motherly earth, how our beautiful planet is now we are destroying our natural resources indiscriminately, randomly, and that is harmful for the next generation. So our development policy must be take into consideration for the access of food, access of resources, access to the natural resources for the next generation simultaneously. So when it is environmentally sound, when it entails maximum population and socially justifiable, when intergenerational equity are ensured, then it is called sustainable development. So United Nations in 2015, when they adopted the SDG 17 goals, these goals are very important, some extent overlapping some of the goals with each other, but they are interconnected. We cannot achieve one without the implementation of another. So sometimes it may seem overlapping, but these goals are very important, especially for the third world countries. When we're talking about climate change, I mean, just think about Bangladesh, the intrusion of saline water in southern Bengal, how the agri-land and cropland are destroying because of the saline intrusion of saline water, and because then there is a because of global warming, the sea level is rising. So the climate expert and scientists are predicting that if this trend continues, the majority part of southern Bengal will submerge into saline water. So we lost our huge cropland, and how we lost our huge productive land, and people will lost their habitat, their homes, their agri land, their crops, everything will be under huge threat in southern Bengal. So as a Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable country to environmental degradations and climate change. From Bangladeshi context we understand better that why action proper action need to be taken against climate change. Climate change is a issue that is not something that is a one country's issue. It is a global issues, because on the countries that are producing more, the manufacturing countries, the industrialized countries are emitting more toxic elements to the nature, and that is responsible for climate change. So climate change is something as Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is one of the worst affecting country of climate change, but Bangladesh is not the responsible country for climate change. So the global action is required to address those issues. So and Bangladesh singly cannot prevent the climate change. So global voice and global actions, global policies, and more stronger actions is required to protect our motherly earth, and also safeguarding our Bangladesh. So, and the second thing that is also important, global inequality, reducing poverty is very important, because we see there are hunger and poverty, access to food and drinking water, access to sanitations, access to quality educations are very rare in sub-Saharan African countries, and most of the third world countries. We are happy that Bangladesh is doing good in SDGs, especially in sanitations and access to drinking water. These are the parameters that Bangladesh is doing well. But many other countries, and also some major developing countries like India is also lagging behind. Though our record is very inspiring, but but we see that in African countries, children in very children are not getting enough food and meal for their survival, and they are not getting enough drinking water in an African, especially sub-Saharan African countries. We see famine, hunger is very heart touching in African countries. So the goals, the agenda that are set by United Nations, that hunger free, reducing hunger to zero level. This is very important, because people are dying, children are dying, because they have no food, they have no access to food, and this is really shame to the modern civilization. So, and the global action is needed, and the ultra rich countries, so-called developing countries, must be join hand to ensure that the people are not dying because of excess of drinking, because of lack of food, lack of water. So global collaborations and supply chain of food, or cereals and foods and goods should be ensured in a proper way and discounted to the poor countries. It is a very important thing. So global collaboration and partnership is very important, because to ensure that access to the especially basic needs of the people, because children are dying because of they are not getting food. This is a shame to the civilization. So both the global north and global south, both is developed, underdeveloped, all countries should join hand together to make a strong partnership, that foods are supplied all around the world adequately, without any kind of biasness or without any kind of political motivation. So common basic needs should be affordable to all. Foods and some commodities, basic commodities of that is required to man for survival, should be accessible to all parts of the world without caste and creed and religion or political identity. And the second thing that is very important we need to ensure that we are reducing inequality. And if we look at the country statistics, that the United States alone, contain 25% of global GDP, and 100 rest of 168 countries are only responsible and owning only 16% GDP, and that is a very unfair world, in fact. So G7 or G20 countries are owning maximum resources of the world. So, and most of the countries, 160, 170 countries are owning only 16 or 70%. So these statistics is a very alarming, because, and then global policy makers, especially IMF, World Bank, and under the leadership of United Nations, should formulate in a way so that this inequality on the basis of country, on the basis of region, on the basis of block should be reduced. And also per capita income of the European countries, in Latin American, North American countries, and also into the African countries is very highly different. So there should be a policy, trade policy, and also international rules and trade and commerce should be in a way that these those who are marginal countries should get more duty benefits to the rich world. And the second and the other important things is access to quality educations. And we know what Bangladesh is going through. There are a lot of debate about the poor standard of education in Bangladesh. So quality education should be accessible for all children, and in this or for all age, and that's set out by United Nations. So access to quality education is vital, because when you talk about innovation, infrastructure development, and sustainable development, without making resourceful human being, quality employee, without resource investment in infrastructure, without investment in education, we cannot make a sustainable development. So education should be at the forefront, as like food and sanitations. And another most important thing is, and that I discussed before, climate. We should ensure that global warming is not reached at its peak. It is reduced drastically, so that our planet, our environment, our earth and ecosystems remains intact against natural disasters. So already we have anticipating, and already we have witnessed severe natural disaster like Sidor, Cyclone Isla, and something like that, and how devastating it can be. So our future, our current and future generation will witness something like this in upcoming days. So we should prepare ourselves for globally to tackle environment, climate change issues. And the second thing is, we should be on the global we should ensure global partnership to ensure that the resources are accessible and resources are affordable to all over the world. The proper and equitable access to the resources is very important. And we should ensure gender inequality. We should ensure reducing the gap of gender inequality. There are many parts of the world women are tortured, humiliated because of their gender. So gender issues should be prioritized. Women should be respected, their work should be respected, they should give enough employment opportunity, education opportunity like men. And we should empower women for the well-being of our own cause. And another important aspect is, we should consider that innovations, infrastructure development. We see the technologies, most of the countries are not owning the technology. The rich countries, especially India, USA, China, and European countries, Germany, France, they are not willing to share the innovation and technology in the name of patent and other issues. So the benefits of industrialization, the benefit of digitalization, the benefits of artificial intelligence and cloud computing and computer technologies, IT technology, IT infrastructure should be shared to the third world countries, so that third world countries get the benefit of these digitalizations, and information technologies benefits are accessible to the third world countries. So We should ensure that the global developed countries must welcome and to share their new technologies to the third world countries for the betterment of the third world countries. And another important aspect, that is, we should ensure that there should not be any discriminations on human rights all over the we should ensure that the human rights and people rights, people lives and liberty should and protected in all over the world without any discrimination on the basis of religions, on the basis of region, on the basis of other issues. So it is very important that SDGs are implemented, and we should keep track on that sustainable development goals are achieved all across the world. Thank you very much.